does seem like I've come all the way round to fascism. I don't know if we're now a pro-fascist show. Thursday's the new Friday. Watch out! Welcome to the Steel Show, people. A massive congratulations to Reform on winning the local council elections. I did my civic duty last Thursday, where I went out and voted in the local council elections. I don't know why. In my area, it's absolutely pointless because the Conservatives win, because Croydon went bankrupt. They went so bankrupt that once someone stole my wheelie bin, I rang up the council going, hey, I need a new wheelie bin. And I swear to God, the guy on the phone went, we have so little money, we actually can't send you a wheelie bin. So I went, I'll give you the money. And he went, Matt, we're in our overdraft. Like that, it will just go in, it will get wiped. So I was like, what do I do? And he kind of like went, I don't know, man, whatever you got to do to get a new wheelie bin. So I then had to go steal someone else's wheelie bin. This isn't made up. I had to, at 1 a.m. on the way back from a gig, find a house, like sort of like a dustbin Robin Hood, decide that these people have too many wheelie bins, these bourgeois living their high life with their free wheelie bins while I have none. Well, vive la revolution. And I stole a wheelie bin and then painted my door number on it. So if they ever came looking, I'll go, well, no, that one's got my door number on it. How could I? That was my criminal mastermind plan. So I went down there, voted pointless because the Conservatives win in my area. I went out, I thought, you know what? Crystal Palace are playing Shakhtar Donetsk. That's what I focused on tonight. Massive game for the European trophy of the Conference League, that amazing tournament that has existed for 4 years. Rich history. And we went down there. I went with a friend of mine. She came down. She'd never been to the football before. So I usually like trying to explain offside to someone who's never been to football is hard enough, but I realized I was up against it when she asked what a goal kick was and why that happened. And I had to explain what out of bounds, like going over the lines meant. And she was the ball doesn't just go from wherever it goes. Like you don't ever see a Premier League game taking place in a car park next to the stadium because that's where the ball's gone, which is what she thought would happen. So we go down there, Palace win, have a few drinks, go out to celebrate, ended up out in London Bridge. I just want to say, I didn't realize that like Thursday was the new Friday. I don't know if you guys have. Thursday's the new Friday. I didn't realize this because in my job, we don't ever really notice when there's bank holidays or anything, school breaks, anything like that. We never notice these things. We notice at the gig because you guys get a little bit more unruly on a bank holiday. Like you turn up to a weekend gig and you guys are getting fucked, which I'm all for. But don't make the 20 minutes of work that I have to do twice a week a little bit harder, for God's sake. It's already difficult graft. I'm out here stealing wheelie bins, for fuck's sake. And then you want to talk through my art form? Have some shame. So we go out in London Bridge, having a few drinks, and the amount of people doing cocaine now is at an all-time high. It's at an all-time. Cocaine was meant to be like a naughty thing once in a while. Someone has a bit of coke on. Everyone. There was an office group out we got chatting to, all of them doing coke, from the weird, creepy boss who was hitting on the younger girls, which was happening at the bar we were at, which was quite fun to see that it wasn't even a Christmas party where the boss was taking it a bit too far. It was just but Thursday's the new Friday. Do you know what I mean? You used to sexually harass the 22-year-olds on the Friday, now you do it on the Thursday. That's where we are as a society. So they start doing a bit of blow. They do high-end corporate jobs, by the way, which I think if I do a bit of blow on a Thursday, that doesn't really affect anything whatsoever. Like nothing is the gig I'm doing in Gravesend a little bit more sweaty with bags under my eyes? Who really suffers from that? The fact that everyone in the city, this is why the economy is in the gutter, because everyone who's meant to be working in the city is just doing coke all the time. And coke is meant to, this is how regularly available coke is. Coke is meant to be a thing where if you meet someone and you have a bit on you, they have to be cool for you to get, you want to be like, this person's cool, I'll give him a bit of coke. Now there's so much coke around. If someone's annoying, you give them coke so they go to the bathroom and leave you alone for 3 minutes. That's how much cocaine there is out there. And I wake up the next day, hungover, a little bit of a come down, and I thought, let me check the local council election results. Let me check this. Maybe this will help my hangover. And I see that Reform have a resounding win. So congratulations to them and the country. We've really showed everyone there, really showed everyone that we're a progressive society, not at all falling towards. And people throw the word fascism out. I don't think Reform are going to be fascist, because I don't think people really understand how they're not going to be able to do most of the things that they say. Like, they're not going to be, even if they win like the main election, they're going to backpedal on all of these things, because that's how politics works, and what comes after Reform will be awful. But Reform is the step on the way today. So it's the stepping stone on the way, which everyone has been saying for years. Like, if you keep going towards the right, it's not necessarily that it is just slightly right wing. It's what comes after, because these people, like you had it with David Cameron, the Conservatives, Boris Johnson, that these people are going to go slightly more right and right and right, make your life worse. And then instead of going, oh, okay, well, we keep voting for right-wing things and life gets worse, people go, oh, the problem was we didn't vote right-wing enough, so we need to go even more right to eventually get it back. It's kind of like if like the shower stops working in your house, and instead of going, okay, we need to get someone in to fix this who knows what they're doing, your dad just keeps giving it a go until there's no more house left, and then goes, the house is fixed. The shower, and you go, yeah, that's because it's a smoldering wreck now. And you go, yeah, but at least the shower's not leaking. There'll be a lot of showers, showers and right wing, they have intertwined in history, as we know. I, in my internal optimism, go, okay, well, it's only the local council elections. There's not much they're really going to be able to affect. Being in charge of local council is just speeding restrictions. How many lollipop men do we have? Who's going to fill the potholes? There's nothing you can do with that that's going to be that insane. And then I saw this by Glenn Gibbons. Can't believe amount of Nigerians in town. Should melt them all down and fill in the potholes. 6 likes. This is a councillor's answer to what we should do with the pothole problem, and in his mind, the Nigerian problem. It wasn't like, listen, I don't know what Victor Moses did to this man for him to want to have him melted. How much do you have to hate John Obi Mikel to want him melted down into a pothole? Also, it's just, I don't think that would work. I don't know what his idea is. I don't think human beings have the consistency to fill potholes. If you do this, how much of the pothole can how many humans do you need to melt to fill one pothole? I think there's more potholes than there are Nigerians in the country. So we are going to have to expand this a little bit. Not that that's the main problem of this, by the way. Not that, I know I'm going on a sheer admin issue of Nigerian to pothole correlation. Every time you run over a pothole now, it goes, watch out. What are you doing? Like, they hadn't even been in charge for 6 hours. And this reminds me of in comedy, because here's one of the things Reform have. They're a huge populist party. Whenever you speak to people who vote Reform, they either talk about it as a protest vote, they like Nigel Farage, they don't really know who they're voting for. They've got that 19-year-old who's a member of council who keeps putting up those David Brent-like videos, one of which he was saying, Britain, we don't even know, how can we go on a world stage when we don't even know what a man and a woman is? They're still using the trans argument, which we're past. How many Ghanaians do you reckon are voting for this guy now? Like, how many Ghanaians are going yeah, we'll get, do you know what? A lot of Reform's policies we don't agree with, but the melting of Nigerians, we can fuck with that a little bit. The idea that that's your first, you just go into town. Firstly, how did he know they were Nigerian? Did he run a poll? It's such a old school medieval bit of racism. It's like you can almost go, ha 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 ha. My town, where I live, you can't even get a fucking wheelie bin. How are we going to implement the melting of the Nigerians? There's an energy crisis at the minute. How big is this pot going to be to melt the Nigerians? I don't think he's being serious. I think that's an absolutely insane thing to say. And listen, we've all seen my spelling. I shouldn't be able to judge. I'm judging the sentiment because it's fucking horrible. But that's why I'm not running for local council, on the basis of I can't really spell, so maybe I shouldn't be in charge of anything, even if it is bin collection. But if one of your councillors within 45 minutes of being elected, they're finding a tweet from 2 years ago, by the way, this isn't even that big. This isn't hey, I've listened, I've learned. That wasn't even a World Cup ago. So let's see how they've defended. Reform have come out. Surely Reform have come out to condemn this, come out and said this is just horrific and irresponsible. You can't say these things. Let's see what Reform have had to say.
One of your new councillors who's just been elected in Sunderland previously suggested online that people should melt Nigerians to fill potholes.
Now, wait, can we pause it just there? I want to go back to his face. Can we just go back to his face? Imagine like being briefed before you go on the news. Like instead of like, hey, you've got to defend this new economic policy. We're going to defend backing Trump on the Strait of Hormuz. You're being sent onto a politics show to try pivot out the way and defend melting Nigerians into a pothole. That's why you got into politics. You know, I just want to change things. I've got to back the party line, and the party line is Nigerians are going to be melted into a pothole. How many deep breaths do you reckon he took in like the mirror before going on there? Just, this is the job. This is the job. This is it. Let's see how he does this.
We have an internal party process.
An internal party process is such a great line. But what people are really concerned about? What do you mean? What are people really concerned? People are really concerned about one of your candidates is saying you should melt Nigerians and put them into pot. That is a legitimate concern, by the way. That isn't like, guys, we really need to fix the economy. No. If someone is going, we're going to melt Nigerians into potholes, and everyone goes, dude, what the fuck? You can't go, listen, what is a man and a woman? But this is what people are voting for now. Like, this is the world we live in. Like, years ago, that would get you fired. Like, this is the thing now. Could you imagine if you found out someone at a Costa Coffee had said that? They would go through your tweets and find that. They'd be sacked. But now someone, and I think he has been suspended due to the backlash, which is absolutely warranted. If a comedian tweeted that, they'd have gigs pulled. They'd be pulled from work. This is a small price to pay because reform are coming in. People who are voting reform, they want to defend the women and children. So, you know, maybe we've got to put up with the fact that they're abhorrent racists. Oh dear. Reform UK candidate who won a seat in Sunderland, beat his girlfriend black and blue and allegedly abused a child. They've been in for several hours and this has come out. Several hours, one of your local councillors beat his girlfriend, black and blue, and allegedly abused a child. Now, I'm going to say something controversial here, but I think if you want to protect women and children, the best people to have in charge are people who themselves have abused women and children, because to catch a predator, you need to think like a predator. So this is actually a bit of 4D chess from reform here. This is actually, to defend reform, this is a smart way to do it. You need someone who's going to be able to think like an abuser to catch the abusers. Because people are voting for reform because they like Farage and he's a populist. And this reminds me of in comedy, what would happen sometimes is you'd have a gig where they spent all of the money on the headliner. All of the money is on the headliner. And then they go, oh fuck, we've got to book another 5 acts. And you turn up to this gig to headline it with some of the worst comedians you will ever see. People called things like Barry the Entertainer. And they walk out there and they got a little bow tie that spins. And then they do a bunch of rape gags and you've got to go on after it. And the way you have to do the gig, like as someone who's done these gigs, is as the person who's now the headliner in charge, you have to go on and go, what the fuck was that? Which is what Nigel Farage kind of needs to do. He needs to come out and go, what the fuck was that? Because the way the Reform Party is expanding, they've been around for what, 4 or 5 years? If that. It's harder for me to become a member of a PTA group. It's harder to become that than it is an elected member of Reform. And this is the way the country's going. This is what politics is now. And it's because, I'm going to say it, people, democracy doesn't work. We have to accept that. Nothing shows democracy doesn't work like people being elected for local council who want to melt Nigerians into potholes and domestically abuse. That's a double whammy for his girlfriend there, because her boyfriend beat her black, probably and presumably, so he could then deport her as a member of Reform. That's going to be how they get their wives out of here. They're not going to divorce them. They're just going to beat them up and then be like, hey, we got one. Get them on the boat. Melt her down into a pothole. I understand, like, this is where politics is at now, where it's like the Green Party, and I don't get why people get mad about it. Like, they've been making jokes about people in the Green Party because some of them have been campaigning. They have got like a dude in a dress going around knocking at doors, which is very funny. That is the Green Party doing that. Like, that is funny. The optics of it are so green. Like, I don't care if my politician or my local councillor wears a dress and knocks on a door. What I do care about, it's mad that someone is held to a higher standard for wearing a dress, which is just a bit of clothing, and if they've beaten their girlfriend and are now in charge of the lollipop men in the area. And this is an increasing thing we're seeing with like all of these people who want to be the saviors of women and children, that they've all got domestic abuse charges themselves because they're sick of people coming over here, beating they're taking my job. They're taking my job. What job? Beating my wife. The immigrants are coming to beat my wife. That's my job. Back in the day, you got a job and you beat your wife. But now we're importing people to beat our women and children. That's my job. They're taking our job. It's my job to drink 7 pints, watch England go out on penalties, and then go home and take it out on Barbara for not understanding why our Gegenpress didn't work against Colombia. There should be a test to vote. There should be. I don't think I'd pass it. I don't think I should have a say on a lot of things. A guy who rants into a camera and does this for a living probably shouldn't have a say. But I remember I realised this when I was about 16 years old. There's a couple of examples I'll give, right? When I was 16 years old, I met my granddad, going around to my grandma's, and my granddad picked me up from the station and he took me for a pint. Because, I could get a beer with a dinner or something at a pub. And it was the first time I really had hung out with my granddad, man to man. And my granddad was just this sweet character, He was in the war, all of these things. He had these fun stories he'd sit around and tell. I went for a pint with him and we had a Guinness. First time I hung out with him man to man. And then I realised who my granddad was. That moment where you go, uh-oh. And I sat down and my granddad went on a rant about the Jews. Doesn't realise my heritage is Jewish. Just sat down with a pint. No, hey, you got a girlfriend? What's going on with you? Just, yeah, these bloody Jews and all of that. And my granddad fought in the war. I don't know for which side. And I remember him doing that and being like, at 16, being like, oh my God, this guy gets a vote. I couldn't vote. I'm 16 years old. This guy gets a vote. And then my granddad did the honourable thing about 7-8 years ago and he died. He died, which he should have died. He lived to like 83. That's too old. That's too old to still have a say. The cutoff should be like 60. Voting should be on an app to weed out old people. That's what we need. It needs to be an app and there needs to be a password where you need an uppercase, a lowercase letter, a symbol. And because old people don't know how to do that, it would just stop a lot of this. Because when you get older, you just go mad, which is what you're meant to do. Society moves forward at an accelerated rate. Technology is getting to the point where you can't understand it. You're not really important anymore and that bothers you. Young people have new haircuts and they're wearing dresses, so you get mad about that. People used to retire and like go for walks and join the National Trust. But now old people, because they're on Facebook all day, looking at AI memes, there'll be an AI meme of a boat arriving at Downing Street with immigrants on it. And they go, you see, Starmer's letting me in. And you go, no, it's an AI video. And they go, no, it's there. And that person gets as much of a say in the local council election as you. That is not fair. We should melt the old people and put them into the potholes. That should be, that I could get on board with. Anyone over the age of 65 should be melted and used to replace the potholes. That I would vote for. I'd vote for that councillor. I was on a night bus coming back from Top Secret the other week. A man had a piss on the bus. A guy did that. A human being who walks amongst us had a piss on the bus and the bus had to stop and we all had to get off because a man had taken a piss. That guy gets a say. That guy can walk down on polling day, give his name, give his address and go in and have a say on who runs the local council. Now, we need to have a little thing where you miss a go if you do something like that. Because to me, that's an act of domestic terrorism. That's up there with ISIS. We all know, look, whenever there's like a terrorist attack on public transport, horrific, loss of life, awful. Also, that is the inconvenience of getting home. The inconvenience of you can't get back to where you were going to, and then Uber do a search charge, profit off it. So this guy, in my opinion, domestic terrorism, attacking the transport system. We all had to get off the night bus, wait 40 minutes for another one. And that guy, like you and me, can go down there and vote. And then we're wondering why Reform are doing well. That's because that's who's allowed to vote. So I don't really know what I'm arguing for here. It does seem like I've come all the way round to fascism. I don't know if we're now a pro-fascist show, but this is what the future is going to entail. Starmer's fucked. We're recording this on a Tuesday. This goes out on a Thursday. Absolutely. I will be stunned if he's still in charge by the time this goes out. He's holding on. Starmer's holding on to being Prime Minister the same way a boyfriend's trying to hold on to a girlfriend who is moved on. She is moved on. She's got a new haircut. She's had her nails done. She's going out with the girls, having a drink, eyeing up other men. And he's still double texting her, triple texting her. No, we can make this work. She's looking at new man. She's even going to have a little lesbian phase. Just for the excitement of it. And that's where we're at as a country. We're going to go have our little lesbian phase. That's us with Reform. We're going to have our little Reform phase. And he's still there. He's going to be turning up outside, knocking at our door. Please, I can change. I know I put Manson in, but I'm going to cut him off as a friend. He's a bad influence. Nah, he's got to go. And the thing with Starmer as well, I actually think 15 years ago he would have been considered a good prime minister, but he's just trying to play by the rules of 15 years ago. Like, people don't really care too much about the economy anymore and that. They care about the AI videos they're being shown on Facebook. Like, people, they've been cared about videos of a Holiday Inn on Junction 7 of the M4. That's some migrants are in it. Someone goes, look at that. People from another country are staying in a hotel. That's not what hotels are for. How dare people from another country be in a hotel? What I don't understand about that hotel argument, right, is 20 years ago, the anti-immigration argument was people from other countries are coming here and being given a 4-bedroom semi-detached house on a taxpayer's dime. And it was the Polish. That's what everyone said about it. It was the Polish. We hated the Polish. I'm old enough to remember we hated the Polish. And now we like the Polish because we found out they like a beer and are kind of racist as well. So they really integrated into British society in quite a good way. They like a pint and they hate foreigners. So now you have British people who go, oh, I'm going to move to Poland because they got it right. I'm going to go over to Poland. So now the people who years ago who used to moan about the Polish want to move to Poland. And the argument was they're coming over here, they're giving a 4-bedroom semi-detached home. And now the argument against immigrants is they're given a single bed in an ibis. And you're like, isn't that progress for you? Like, in 20 years, it's gone from a 4-bedroom semi-detached house in the Cotswolds to a hotel room in Coventry. You're winning. That's progress. Like, shouldn't you be happy about that? Shouldn't you be like, hey guys, it used to be they were given a semi-detached home. Now there's 50 of them in one hotel room and they're giving one cheese sandwich per week. I swear to God, in 20 years' time, the racists are going to find common ground with the Afghanis. And they're going to be like, no, the Taliban, they're actually all right. They beat their wives as well. We've got a lot more in common with them than we thought. I'm going to move to Afghanistan. How is that reform councillor? Like, he could win a seat in an Afghan local election, in Helmand's province local election, where they're talking about who's going to take the bins out. There's too many carpets on the street. Someone gets elected, they beat their wife black and blue, and then we're going to have reform members having to do a pivot on Afghan news. Just, well, you know, we're not going to, we're having, the Taliban are having an internal party investigation into the things that were said. But that's the show this week. We'll be back next week after there's going to be a massive Tommy Robinson march. I'm sure that'll be lovely and nice. Every week, all these people, every month, just 1 week, the fucking tube's fucked because people have to come down and show how patriotic they are. They have to block up all the public transport from a city they know nothing about. They're always so scared of this city as well. It's just fucking stupid. But that's it. So congratulations to Reform. Good luck on all the things you want to change and are not going to be able to. And people are going to get mad and then you go even further right. And meanwhile, I get called a lefty because I'm just like, maybe we shouldn't melt the Nigerians into potholes. And then people are like, oh, fuck off, woke brigade.